Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome in. This is the live recording of episode 41 of the Client by Client podcast. I hope that this episode finds you well. Wherever you're tuning into this right now, just drop it in. Let me know that you're live. If you're watching sometime in the future, drop replay. Would still love to say hi, check in on you, see how things are going. Today, we're going to be talking about client retention and creating the coaching program that your clients never want to leave. And I have a couple compelling reasons why you really want to get this right. So be sure to stay through to the end to understand my exact methodology and framework so you can fully understand this. Whether you have clients right now or you're a new budding coach, you can use this to make better decisions, to keep clients longer, increase lifetime value, and wind up with a coaching program that just continues growing, gets better with every client, and all those kind of perfect scenarios that we want as online coaches take place. So let's hop in, let's get this started, and let's bring this to life. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the last episode, we've been talking about Facebook, how to use Facebook organically. We talked first in episode 39 about how to get clients from your group. And then on yesterday's episode 40, I switched gears just a tiny bit to talk about how to get clients from your personal Facebook profile. There's a lot of people who, when they start coaching, they have a Facebook profile, but they say, "Oh, I want to be a business. I want to look, feel, and be a business, be treated like one. So let me start a business Facebook page." They start doing everything from there. But on yesterday's episode, I shared with you why that's the wrong move to make and why I'm such a fan of and why you should be leveraging your Facebook personal profile to be growing your online coaching business. The goals to hit, the strategies to make it happen, the methodology and mindset, and also what happens when you don't get it right. So what I want for you to do is backtrack one episode. If you're looking for a couple clients right now, you might be able to use this episode to fine tune your Facebook profile and attract those next couple clients in, and then use your Facebook profile on repeat to be getting 3 to 5 clients every single month. So be sure to backtrack one episode to check that out. In today's episode, we're talking about client retention. And my goal for you by the end of today's show, that over the course of the next 20 minutes, you have the framework, the mindset, and the methodology to be able to make a coaching program, to be able to make the coaching program that your clients never want to leave. We call this client retention. And when you get this right, there's a couple really cool things that happen. You increase lifetime value. It gets easier and easier to run and grow your business as time goes on. And you wind up getting clients through word of mouth, through referral, and have clients that stick around with you throughout their entire duration of whatever it is that you help with, right? So if you're like me and you help other coaches, they stay with you the entire time they're a coach. If you help parents, you stay with them through time parenthood. If you help people in relationships, they want to stay with you because why would they want to go anywhere else? You help them get over their problems. You have the goods to help them with their future problems. So why would they want to go anywhere else? Before we talk about exactly what to do to make the coaching program your coaching clients never want to leave, I think it's important to understand what happens if you don't get today's episode right. The first thing that happens is that you do a lot of work to get the client and they stick around for some amount of time. But what ends up happening is they end up quitting, some sort of billing problem takes place, or they decide they want to leave. And when that happens, you can get dejected as an online coach. This can also cause other clients in your program to start questioning if they want to stick around and start wondering if they should leave your coaching program to maybe go to someone else's, but under most circumstances, to not do anything. And so they wind up without the sort of help they need to get to where they want to be in their business, in their life, with whatever results you help them with. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that winds up happening is that you always need fresh faces to grow your online business. So if you're feeling like you're always short of leads, short of warm prospects, maybe don't have one right now that you're working on closing, you don't know where your next sale is coming from, you need fresh faces. And what you don't want is to grow a coaching business where you have out offered and out marketed everyone on your email list, in your group, on your Facebook profile. So no one wants to hear your marketing message anymore. No one, and you might feel this, and this also might be true, that you feel like no one's reading your emails, no one's listening to your podcast, no one's reading your posts, or whatever kind of is going through your head that's keeping you thinking that you don't have enough people, that they know what your offer is, they don't want it, they know what the price is, they don't want to make the investment, And while I think that that's typically never the case, you will feel that way. And no matter what the case, you will need fresh faces. And so if you feel like you have really kind of talked your way out of the sale on an individual level and on a wider market level, then you're in the hunt for fresh faces. And when you get in the hunt for fresh faces, you're in this constant hunt for new clients. And when that happens, you take your energy away from your coaching program and it starts to get worse, because it definitely doesn't get better because it's not getting the type of love and attention that it needs in order to grow. Thing number one that happens is that you do work to get a client. You do all of this work. They quit or leave, and that causes other clients to leave as well, or to question if they should continue their journey with you. The second thing that happens is that you always need brand new people because you have burnt out your list, your group, your market, your pipeline, your prospects. And so when this happens, you're always in this hunt for new clients, and you're not able to make the kind of coaching program that once you get a client in, you have the confidence that they're going to stick around, be super happy, get results, and tell the world about it. In fact, you might not even want for them to tell the world about it because you don't have the confidence in it. So that's what happens when you don't get this right. Now let's talk about how to bring this to life, to get client retention right, and to make the sort of coaching program that your clients want to continue staying in, paying for, and sharing with the world. The first thing that you have to get right is you have to get the community aspect of your coaching program right. It doesn't matter to me if you're doing one-on-one, group, hybrid, or a course. There should be a community aspect of your coaching program if you want to bring any of today's episode to life, if you want to be able to retain clients longer than your competition, and for them to never even go to your competition or to go anywhere else and leave your coaching program. And so what you have to do is build community. I want for you to picture you standing in a circle of, like, let's say 6 people, all right? If all 6 people reach out and grab the arm across from them, and they use their other hand to grab someone else's hand, what you wind up with is a ton of connections in the middle, all right? You wind up with all of them, not like, if they want to, not any single one person can like let go because they're holding on to 2 people's hands, so to say. So if you're picturing that, I'm doing it right now. If you picture that, what ends up happening is that everyone in your coaching program has more than one connection. They're going to be connected with you at some level. If you're the coach that did the prospecting, the sales call, and is now like coaching them, then they obviously have a deeper connection with you. But as your coaching business grows, you might have salespeople, you might have virtual assistants doing the DM and the prospecting. You might be doing group coaching, and therefore when you enroll new students, you're doing this with a bunch of people all at once. So I say that to say that in one concept, in one aspect, you might be the only person in your business, and so of course your new client has a connection with you. But as your business grows, you might become so big that it really gets hard to keep track of names and of faces, and that when they sign up and show up for their first session with the group, that might be your first time ever even learning about them, which is a magical place to be. But that's down the road. And if you don't build community, and if you don't build the connection with more than just you, it gets really hard to create this effect over a mid to long time, over a short to long. If you don't build the community and build the connection beyond just you, it makes it really hard to bring this client retention piece to life in your business over the mid to long run. And so you have to build community. And so here's what this looks like: is you have to build accountability with other members. You have to introduce members to each other, create events where you get people talking to each other on your group calls, solicit questions, and then ask your audience, ask your client base, who here's had this problem and what can they share about it before you share your answer. I'm going to backtrack real quick because we had an episode where we talk about this together. How to prevent your clients from giving up. In episode 34, we talked about how to prevent your clients from giving up, and this is what it's all about. So if you haven't already listened to episode 34, go back and check that one out after this episode if this is top of mind for you, because what you want to do is get the group aspect of your coaching program right, which is the community part. And so what this means is that you're building a connection with more than just you. If you have other team members, introduce them to your clients right when they sign up, and introduce them early, introduce them often. And when you have a new client show up for your group coaching call that you have on your calendar, welcome them in the beginning of the call so that other members can be more familiar with them. Create a welcome post for new members when they join in your client Facebook group, and share that when new students enroll so that other members can get acquainted with them. And when they join, on your public story, welcome them so your entire audience can get familiar. And then now you're building community with your prospecting base as well, and getting them to aspire to be in your coaching program, the first thing you have to do is you have to get the community piece of your business right, of your coaching program right, and you have to be actively building it. That's thing number one. Thing number two is you have to create future. And there's really two ways I want for you to do this. The first way I want for you to create future, let me find a way to really tie this home. The second thing you have to do is create future. In any long-lasting friendship or relationship in your life, there's a reason why you stayed in that relationship and in that friendship. And under most circumstances, it's because you saw a better, brighter future. A lot of people stay together simply because they have a past together. And I think there is some merit in that, but that is never the only reason why I will stay in a relationship or in a friendship with someone else. And this is like, I felt in the beginning that this was a little bit cold-hearted, but what I found is that this is really self-love to allow for myself to analyze my friendships, analyze my relationships, and come to a point where I say, is this continuing to serve me, or are we only being friends or in this relationship because we have a past history together? I, as a person, change every 2 or 3 years. I evolve. This has been a constant in me, in my character. I evolve. I try to level up. I change who I am as a fundamental person. And I've outgrown many friendships and many relationships in the past. I can think all the way back to elementary school. And so what winds up happening is that I lose sight of the future that we have together. And in the past, this has been really easy for me to do, like one small hiccup and I would just want to throw everything away. But now I try to keep the bigger picture in mind, and you have to do the same thing with your clients, all right? There's always an overuse and underuse of everything in our personality. At one point in time, I overused this when I was younger. Now, I am conscious of this in my relationships because I don't want the people who I care about most to only be in interactions and relationships with me just because they know me or we have a past. I want for them to want to be a part of my life because there's a better future that we're both creating. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. This is something in some parts of my life it's very aspirational, but in my few very close personal relationships, I'm trying to do things actively to create future, whether it's planning a trip, whether it's thinking about what we have coming up down the road and having plans and goals together is how I do it. And so the first way I want for you to be thinking about of creating future with your clients is about the vision for the future. And so this starts during the sales call. When you are on a strategy session with the prospect, there's a couple goals of every good strategy session that makes it work and gets them from prospect to paying client. And part of that is understanding where they are right now when they're on that call with you and where they want to be. We've talked over the last couple episodes of the chasm. That's what I'm talking about, is what side of the cliff are they at? Describe it for me. How big is that gap in between? And then what's on the other side? So you understand where they are now and where they want to be. And when you do that, you can understand their vision for the future. Oftentimes, when you enroll a student in your coaching program, their vision for the future is aspirational, and there's a part of it, a sliver of it, you're going to be working on right out the gate. And then a couple months, maybe a couple years down the road, they wind up at that fully realized version of their aspirations, of their future. And this is what we call vision, all right? So if you ever have a student who's like giving up, questioning themselves, questioning the results they've gotten, what I like to do is revisit what we talked about during that strategy session, go through my notes, find it, and say, hey, when we first connected, the vision for your business, the vision you had for your business and for yourself was this. And what that allows for you to do is juxtapose the basis of your guys' relationship, the basis of why you guys decided to work together, and to use that for a litmus test of, did we get there yet? That allows for you to use that as a litmus test of, are we there yet, and how much more work do we have? This is helpful when students are wanting to give up, when they've gotten frustrated, right? Because like no one just wants to give up. You get frustrated, you care about something so much, and it doesn't go as fast as you're wanting, and that leads to frustration and maybe some anger, right? And these fears start to boil up, and so you think that you just got to give up. And so good coaches, good seasoned coaches have had to deal with many of these situations, right? And so if you ever have that, that allows for you to say, hey, where were we at? Where are we at now? And where did we want to be? How much more work do we still have to do? This is I'm trying to give you guys one small example of what it takes to create future and doing this through vision, okay? You need to also have a bigger vision for your clients than they have for themselves. I lead with, let's get you 3 to 5 clients a month. And if you're already there, let's get you to 3 to 5 clients a week. That's bite size. That's easy to understand. But my vision for you is far beyond 3 to 5 clients a week. And where it really ends up is, how do you live an epic life? How do you have the resources, the options, the health, the wherewithal to live the sort of life that gets you inspired, that gets you out of bed, that gets you wanting to help and serve more people? So that's my vision. And I start with, let's get you 3 to 5 clients. And if you don't have any of that, let's get you 3 to 5. And then once we get you your first 3 to 5, let's get you consistently getting 3 to 5 clients a month. And then once we do that, let's dial it into a machine that turns it into 3 to 5 a week. But on the other side of that is living an amazing life in the process and at the end of it, and having the right resources and the right details there. So this is how I create future. It's through vision. I do it by soliciting where my prospects are at and where they want to be on a sales call. And I keep track of that as we go and as we grow. And I'm always asking my students about these things to keep them clear in my mind's eye and to keep them clear in theirs. That's part one of creating future. The second thing that you need to do when it comes to creating future, when, like, I'm talking about in the last example, we talked about kind of like a one-on-one individual example when you're dealing with one client. Let's talk about your whole client base. What I want for you to start thinking about is what's coming up in your coaching program that your paying clients should be looking forward to, and that your email list and your prospects should know about, so that they maybe get excited about joining your program. So this can work twofold for getting new clients and then keeping your current clients in. But this is called buy-in. Yeah, your clients are invested, but they will lose interest in your program if they don't have a future with you, if they don't know what's coming up. So what I would think about is, how can you start planning 30, 60, 90 days ahead of what you're going to be teaching in your program, about what the themes are that you might be covering in your group calls or in the community, and start to make this something your clients can look forward to. This will cause for you to get a little bit further ahead in the time horizons, which I'm a big fan of, so that you're not living day to day, week to week, and you can feel really good about where you're headed. This is a long game. You've heard me say that dozens of times now. It's a long game. And when you can start to plan out these things that are coming up, that gives you more time to plan and prepare as an online coach. It also gives your students things to look forward to. Thing number two is, you have to create future. Do this by understanding, clarifying, and revisiting early and often the vision that your clients have. And then also be sharing with them and planning with what's coming up, so they have things to look forward to and reasons to continue to stay glued in, continue to be showing up, and continuing to make their payments. Thing number three is all about wins. You have to be sharing the wins from your clients. Yeah, with your niche, so you inspire more people and more prospects to, like, want to join your coaching program. But you also want to be highlighting these things and creating a place for them inside of your client group. And so if I'm you, what I'm doing is, to start this, at the end of every one-on-one call, I'm asking, was this helpful? And when they say yes, because it always is, I want for you to start asking that same question, and then getting your one-on-one clients to share their insights over into your client-only Facebook group. Next, whenever a student has a win, give them some frameworks for how to share wins. Maybe you have them put win in all caps and then share their win with an image. And if you want for that to become the thing to do, then maybe you write out a little template and a description of it, and you pin it in the guides of your Facebook group, so that every new client that signs up, there's a little welcome post, and then, like, immediately after, they know how to share their wins and also where to go to see the other wins. So what I also like to do is that when any student has a win and they post it in the group, whether I solicited it or they did it of their own accord, I'm going to go and grab that now and put that in my wins guide. First, I'm going to pin it to the top of the group so that everybody can see it. I'm going to comment on it, be doing these things, get others to comment on it, and then add it to a wins area inside of your Facebook group. And now you're going to have a catalog over time of all of the wins your clients are experiencing. When I was just a coaching student myself, a mentee of Brian Harris in our Get 10,000 Subscribers group, where I got my start, we had an area called the the Winners Table? And so we did a little post every Friday that said, grab a seat, step up to the wins table, and share your win. And it wasn't about, you got clients, you grew your list, you did any of this. It was like, what were the little things that happened this last week that you're proud of? And so right now, you might be wanting the big magical wins you see big box coaches sharing, where you've changed someone's life in every fabric of it. And you might have gotten those, or you might be getting some of those already. But the reality is that it's the small wins along the way that change the game. So also, solicit the big wins, but also find ways and make it okay for your clients to share the smaller wins, because oftentimes even your prospects would aspire to get those small wins. And when they see others getting those small wins, they're going to think, wow, this is doable. Let me sign up and let's do this together. Thing number 3 is create a place and a culture around wins and sharing them. Fourth is I want for you to set expectations. This goes a little bit to what we talked about a second ago with like what content your new clients see when they join your group. So in my Get Clients group, there's a welcome guide, and inside of there, it shares with them information they need to know and some prompts that calls them to action. So at first it's like a welcome, and then comment below with got it. So every new client joins, they put got it, and then in the feed in the group it bumps it up to the top, right? I also pin that welcome guide or that welcome post to the top of my group, and it's the first thing that's just always there, always pinned and featured. And then underneath there is wins, sharing with them how the group call works, how support works. But inside of there, it's like, yeah, let them know that it is expected that they're going to share their insights, share their wins, and that we have a culture around it. And here's how it works. So what this does is it creates a culture around these wins. It creates a culture around sharing insights. And when you do this and you create an open forum for people to share things going well and things not going so well, to share how they're feeling, to be asking for help, it's these expectations that create the kind of community that people can't find anywhere else, that they're dying to plug into. Dean Jackson shared one of the first times I ever saw the guy, he shared how people are walking around with their umbilical cord in their hand, hoping for something to plug into it. Hoping for something to plug it into. All right. They're walking around hoping something comes along and comes around. And like the reality of the things that do come around for us to plug into is that like they're kind of trivial. Right now, the NBA playoffs are going on. I didn't watch a single game during the regular season, but I'm watching the playoffs. I want to plug into something. I want to plug into greatness, so to say. Right. And so like that's like a small way you could see people like in mass, they want to plug into these things, right? And as coaches, we create things that are so intimate and so helpful that when we do that, people will start to look at the NBA and the playoffs and all these other trivial things as like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be plugging into like those sorts of things. I want to plug into this, and that's your program. So set the expectations, create a culture around the wins, around the insights, around being vulnerable, around being open. When you do that, you've created a place where people can actually be themselves, which is, I think, one of the rarest things in the world. And by you leading that and showing that example, you're going to create that expectation, and that's just going to become the norm in your program. Last, fifth, and finally, when it comes to creating a coaching program that your clients never want to leave, is to celebrate milestones. I want to give you kind of 2 tips along this. So if you have a student that makes it to the end of your coaching program, I don't care if it's a 6-week, 8-week, 12-week, 1 year, 18 months, celebrate that. That's kind of tip number 1. So like if you have milestones in your program, celebrate them. If you don't have any milestones, engineer them. Think of the basic ones like how long has someone been in your coaching program, and then also think about micro wins along the way that you can be celebrating. Second, highlight those members that made it to those points on your group calls, in your group sessions. If you have a quarterly session where all your clients come to, celebrate those things and be sure to post them in the group and get others to applaud and celebrate them, because what ends up happening is that your other students in your program start looking at that as like the goal they want to hit. It's like, wow, I want to be here for 3 years. Wow, I'm here in my first month. I can't imagine what it would be like. But what they're imagining is them sticking around with you for a very long time, which is exactly what you're wanting them to imagine. Earlier, we talked about creating future through understanding their vision and communicating it, and then also showing them what's coming up in your coaching program. And I think that there is a way to like borrow from that in this celebrate milestones tip in terms of the language that you use to set the expectation, back to tip number 4, about how long people are in your program. So what you might do is on your sales call is say something like, okay, so what I understand is I'm going to use an example with the people that I help, which are coaches. A lot of the goals we have are around money. Okay. What that might sound like is, if I'm hearing you correctly, you want to be at $100,000 a month, but right now you're at about $2,000 to $5,000 a month. And right now that's hurting you because you know that you're capable of so much more. Do I have that right? And they're going to be like, yep, totally have that right. Here's how you turn that 100,000. You're at zero, basically. You want to get to $100,000 a month, which is just about every call that I have with most people, right? What you might say is, okay, so I know you want to get to $100,000 a month. Let's say we're only able to get you to consistently 15K a month over the course of the next 12 months. Like we steadily get you progress there. At the end of 12 months, you're consistently hitting 15K like clockwork. Is that a year well spent? The other person's going to think about it and say, wow, I'm at like 2 to 3K. I'm dying to have my first 10K month. If I'm at 15K consistently a year from now, yeah, that would be great. We went from $100,000 a month to what about 15K over the first year? What kind of gap does that now create after year one? Now we're starting to allude to, like, so let's say yes, it's like, okay, cool. So what I want to do is focus on getting you to 15K. That's our first milestone. Once we get you there, what we're going to do is start installing the systems that get you closer to 50K. And then we do X, Y, and Z that get you to 100K. What you just did is you took them from thinking or feeling like getting to 100K a month is possible, but getting there in a year is probably not that possible with some exceptions. And that we're going to work on this smaller milestone for the first year, and then we're going to get to conquering that afterwards. So what you've now done is you set the expectation that 100K is possible, but it's going to take a long time. So let's focus on getting you to this other milestone. And then afterwards, I have the goods for you to get from that milestone to where you want to be at 100K. Is this making sense, guys? You want to take where they're at and stretch it. Good coaches simultaneously make their prospects and clients feel more confident about the goal they're going after, while simultaneously making it feel like there's so much more in between that needs to be done to get there reliably, to get there with confidence. And so what this looks like and sounds like, what I'm trying to communicate to you is having some verbiage that's like, in your first year, we're going to get you to this milestone. And then in years 2, 3, and 4, we get you here. And that might be the first time they considered working with you, let alone working with you for 3, 4, 5 years. And let's say they join with you, they end that call, they hang up that Zoom, they just made that 3, 5, 10, 20K investment for the first 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And they already feel more relief because the goal is more manageable that they're going after, because you just changed their expectations and you made them so much more minuscule and easier for you to help them hit as a coach. And now they're like, wow, I have this journey over this year. I'm going to be able to focus on these things. And then after that, we can get to there. And when you have that conversation going on in your prospect's mind, they're thinking and they're picturing themselves working with you for far longer than they may have even thought about before they got on a call with you. So what you want to be doing is create milestones, celebrate milestones, and implant the milestones inside of your prospect's mind so that they want to work with you far beyond just a 6-week coaching program or a 3-month, and start getting them to stretch their expectations and their goals about being with you for longer. This is not about limiting their progress. This is not about putting them in a box, so to say, and keeping them there. This is not about just taking people's money or anything like that. This is about helping people to understand their lofty visions, getting them there in a more reliable, steady way, in a way that you're confident of delivering, in a way they're confident of taking on. This is about managing their expectations about what's actually possible in what time frame, and then also letting them know that they have a place to grow in, that they can get help, and that they don't need to go anywhere else. This is how you create the coaching program that your clients never want to leave, that they want to tell all of their friends and family about, and that where they create a home and a family for themselves in your program and make it a part of their lives. In the next episode of Client by Client, I'm going to be talking about the lack of focus, and I'm going to be sharing with you what works for me. So if you ever have times in your day or times in your week, times in your month, times in your life where you don't have the kind of focus you know you're capable of, well, you aren't alone. And I'm going to share with you what works for me, everything that I do when I get stuck, when I lack focus, how I get out of those things, and all the tips that I have for you. So be sure to come back to tomorrow's episode to hear all of that and to get your focus on, and to stop lacking focus and have the kind of focus that you know you're capable of. Whenever you are ready, here are 3 ways I can help you grow your online coaching business. Coaches, are you still managing your pipeline and your lead flow in Instagram DM, Messenger, and your email inbox? Well, you're leaving money on the table. You're losing leads in the cracks, and that's why I created GetBookedCRM. And I just made a couple tweaks to it, and it's still free right now and it's 100% free right now in June 2023. All you have to do is find me on Instagram and send me the letters CRM. When you do that, I'll share with you where you can grab your copy, show you how to use it. And by doing so, you'll be getting leads and turning them into clients in half the time. Again, just message me CRM on Instagram. Second, join my free group for online coaches. We've got just about 1,000 coaches from all over the world, a small step ahead of you at the exact same step that you're at, or one small baby step behind. It's also where you get access to me, my favorite resources, and the things that I find that help me grow my online business. So if you're an online coach and you're looking to grow, all you have to do is message me the word group on Instagram, and I'll share with you your invitation so you can come and join us, or search Leverage Coach on Facebook. Lastly, become my next success story. I'm getting some coaches together this month to implement my frameworks and methodologies for injecting 15K in new clients or doubling your online client roster over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But I'm very particular about who I work with, and I'm only looking for a few specific people. So if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts a person ahead of the money, you've been coaching for at least 1 year, you like to get 3 to 5 clients organically every month from social media without wasting money and time on paid ads, you have at least 300 friends on a social platform, email list, or members in a group, you're willing to take bold action because you know your success depends upon it, and last but not least, and most importantly, you can keep a secret. That's you. I want for you to grab your phone right now, head over to Instagram at WhatUpJeremy, and send me the words case study. When you do that, I'll ask you a couple questions, then I'll share with you what we have coming up, what other members are loving in the program and the results are already experiencing, and what you can expect when you join the Get Clients Coaching program, and what will have the highest impact on your business the soonest. All you have to do is message me the words case study for all of the info. That's it for this episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you in the next one. Cheers. Couldn't get my words together in that last little part. If you made it all the way through the end, I want for you to comment Tuesday in all caps. That'll be my kind of cue to know that you made it here to the end. You've been hanging out. And if you have any questions, have any thoughts, you want to shout out on the show, feel free to drop them here. Your guys' honest rating and reviews over in the Apple Podcast Store, they mean the world. So if you're getting value from the show, find the show, scroll all the way down to the bottom, leave me a review client by client, and would love to hear your thoughts and feedback and anything that I can help to share for you in your online business. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another one. Cheers.